Dawn rose slowly over the sacred plains of Kurukshetra. A pale golden light spilled across the endless rows of chariots, horses, and warriors who stood ready to carve destiny with their weapons. Banners fluttered violently in the cold wind, each carrying the pride of a kingdom, each whispering a silent promise of blood and glory. But in the midst of that rising storm stood a warrior whose heart trembled like a fragile leaf. Arjuna gripped his mighty bow, the legendary Gandiva, yet his hands were not steady. His eyes moved across the battlefield, recognizing faces that were not enemies, but teachers, cousins, friends. And standing beside him, holding the reins of the white horses, was the mysterious charioteer, whose calm presence seemed to silence the chaos of the world. Krishna. The conches had not yet sounded again. Time itself seemed to pause, waiting for something deeper than war. Arjuna lowered his bow slightly and looked toward Krishna, his voice quiet yet heavy with thought. Krishna, you have spoken of devotion, of surrender, of the path beyond fear. But my mind still searches for clarity. Who truly are you? How does one understand your power in this vast universe? Krishna turned his gaze toward the horizon, where the sun was slowly rising. His eyes reflected the golden sky as if he already knew every moment that would unfold. Then he smiled gently. Listen again, Arjuna. Listen carefully. His voice carried the calm strength of eternity. I shall speak to you of the deepest truth, a truth even the gods long to understand. A sudden wind swept across the battlefield, rustling armor and banners. The warriors waiting for battle could not hear what was about to be spoken, yet the universe itself leaned closer. Krishna continued, You are dear to me, Arjuna. Because you seek truth without pride, I will reveal my supreme nature once more. Arjuna felt something shift inside him. This was not the voice of a simple friend. This was the voice of something ancient, something limitless. The gods, Krishna said softly, do not know my origin. The great sages cannot trace my beginning, for I am the source from which even they arise. Arjuna's breath slowed. The words were simple, yet they carried the weight of galaxies. Krishna's eyes now turned toward him fully. I am unborn, eternal, the supreme Lord of all worlds. For a moment, the battlefield faded from Arjuna's awareness. It felt as though he stood at the edge of creation itself. And one who understands this truth, Krishna said calmly, is freed from every illusion of sin and confusion. Arjuna stared at him in awe. Who was this being sitting beside him? His friend, his guide, or the hidden master of existence itself? The rising sun climbed higher above Kurukshetra, but a greater light had already begun to rise in Arjuna's heart.
The morning breeze carried the smell of dust and iron across Kurukshetra. Thousands of warriors stood waiting for the command to charge. But the conversation within Arjuna's chariot existed in a strange silence beyond the battlefield. Krishna's voice continued, steady and powerful. All the qualities that shape human life arise from me, Arjuna. Arjuna listened, his mind completely absorbed. Intelligence, wisdom, clarity, patience, truthfulness, self-control, calmness. As Krishna spoke, Arjuna remembered countless moments from his life. The discipline of training, the courage to face impossible battles, the moments of doubt, the strength to stand again. Joy and sorrow, Krishna continued. Fear and fearlessness, success and failure, compassion and cruelty. Arjuna blinked slowly. Even these opposites come from you? Krishna nodded. Yes. His voice carried neither pride nor arrogance. It sounded simply like a fact of nature. The power to forgive, the power to endure, the ability to seek truth, all emerge from the same source. A hawk cried in the sky above. Somewhere in the distance a soldier shouted an order. But inside the chariot, the world felt strangely peaceful. Krishna continued speaking, as if revealing a map of existence itself. The ancient sages who guide humanity, the creators of knowledge, even they emerged from my will. Arjuna leaned closer. The sages? He asked softly. Krishna nodded. Yes, the great rishis who first understood cosmic truth were manifestations of divine thought. Arjuna tried to imagine it. Civilizations rising, wisdom spreading across generations, all connected to the same hidden source. Krishna raised his hand and gestured towards the horizon. From these sages came humanity. From humanity came kingdoms, cultures, stories, and now this battlefield. Arjuna felt the strange beauty of the moment. Everything that had ever happened, every joy, every tragedy, all part of an immense design. And yet, Krishna said gently, most beings remain unaware of the origin of these forces. Arjuna swallowed slowly, because they see only fragments of reality. Krishna looked directly into his eyes. But one who understands the truth of my divine nature understands the foundation of existence itself. A long silence followed. The sun now shone brightly over Kurukshetra, but Arjuna's mind was traveling far beyond the battlefield. He realized something that shook him deeply. Krishna was not merely explaining the universe, he was revealing the mind of the universe itself.
The wind began to rise across Kurukshetra. Dust spiraled into the air, swirling around the armored soldiers waiting for war. The tension among the armies grew heavier with every passing moment. But inside the chariot, something extraordinary was unfolding. Arjuna looked at Krishna with growing reverence. Krishna, if what you say is true, then those who truly understand you must see the world very differently. Krishna smiled. They do. His gaze drifted toward the distant lines of warriors. The wise recognize the divine presence within every aspect of existence. Arjuna frowned slightly. In every aspect? Yes, Krishna replied calmly. The rising sun, the flowing rivers, the courage of warriors, the wisdom of teachers, the compassion of a mother. He paused, letting the words settle. All these expressions carry the imprint of the same divine origin. Arjuna felt a strange warmth inside his chest. He remembered moments from his childhood, learning archery from his guru, laughing with his brothers, the quiet devotion of the sages who guided them. Were all those moments reflections of the same divine force? Krishna continued. The wise do not see the world as separate fragments. They see a living unity. Arjuna closed his eyes for a moment, trying to imagine it. A universe where everything was connected, where every action carried meaning, where every life was part of a greater story. When he opened his eyes again, Krishna was watching him patiently. Such knowledge transforms the heart, Krishna said softly. How? Arjuna asked. Krishna's voice deepened. One who truly understands the divine origin of all things develops unwavering devotion. Arjuna nodded slowly. Because they see you everywhere. Krishna smiled. Yes. The simplicity of the answer stunned Arjuna. Devotion was not blind faith, it was recognition. Recognition of the hidden presence guiding the universe. Krishna continued. These wise souls constantly speak about the divine truth. Arjuna pictured sages sitting around sacred fires discussing the mysteries of existence. They delight in sharing knowledge, Krishna said. They encourage one another, they strengthen one another. The image filled Arjuna with hope. Even in a world filled with conflict and ambition, there were still those who sought wisdom. Krishna looked toward the battlefield again. True seekers are never alone, Arjuna. They form a silent brotherhood across time. Arjuna inhaled deeply. A strange calm settled over him. For the first time since arriving on the battlefield, he felt the weight of fear slowly lifting. Krishna turned back to him. And those who remain devoted to the divine path, I guide them personally. Arjuna's heart skipped. You guide them? Krishna nodded. Yes. How? Krishna's eyes glowed with a mysterious warmth. I illuminate their understanding from within. Arjuna felt a shiver run down his spine. It was as if a door inside his mind had just opened. A door leading towards something vast, something eternal.
The sky above Kurukshetra had now turned brilliant blue. Yet the battlefield still waited in uneasy silence. Soldiers shifted nervously. Horses stamped their hooves against the earth. War was approaching like an unstoppable storm. But inside Arjuna's chariot, a different battle was being fought. The battle for understanding. Arjuna looked at Krishna with new curiosity. You said you guide those who are devoted. How does that guidance appear? Krishna's eyes softened. For those who constantly think of me with love and sincerity, I grant the wisdom by which they can reach me. Arjuna repeated the word slowly. Wisdom by which they reach you. Krishna nodded. Not all knowledge is the same. Some knowledge leads to power, wealth, or pride. He paused. But divine wisdom leads to liberation. Arjuna felt the truth of those words immediately. He had seen powerful kings fall into arrogance. He had seen warriors destroy themselves through pride. But the sages he admired possessed something different, a peaceful strength. Krishna continued, when the mind is purified through devotion, I awaken the light of understanding within that heart. Arjuna looked puzzled. You awaken it? From within? Yes. Krishna placed his hand gently on his chest. I reside within every living being. Arjuna stared at him in stunned silence. Within every being, even those who stood on the opposing side of the battlefield? Krishna seemed to read his thoughts. Yes, Arjuna, even within those who oppose you. Arjuna felt a complicated wave of emotion. If the divine lived within everyone, then this war was far more complex than he had imagined. Krishna spoke again. Human beings often live in darkness created by ignorance. Arjuna nodded slowly. Ignorance had caused countless conflicts throughout history. Fear, Krishna said. Greed, hatred, pride. Each word struck like a hammer. These shadows cloud the mind, Krishna continued. They hide the truth of the divine presence within. Arjuna lowered his gaze. How can that darkness disappear? Krishna's answer came softly, with the lamp of knowledge. The wind stirred gently around them. Krishna raised his hand toward the sky. When devotion becomes steady, when the heart truly seeks truth, I remove the darkness of ignorance. Arjuna looked up again. And then? Krishna's smile returned. Then the soul remembers its connection to the eternal. Arjuna felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The battlefield still existed. The war would still happen. But something within him had changed. He was beginning to see beyond the chaos of the moment, beyond victory and defeat, beyond life and death. He was beginning to glimpse the hidden light that Krishna spoke of.
The distant sound of war drums echoed across Kurukshetra. Generals were issuing commands. Messengers raced between the armies. The moment of battle was drawing closer. Yet Arjuna felt strangely calm. He looked at Krishna with a deep mixture of wonder and gratitude. Krishna, the truths you reveal are beyond anything I have ever heard. Krishna's expression remained serene. The truth has always existed, Arjuna. It simply waits for the right moment to be understood. Arjuna nodded slowly. Now I see why the wise honor you. Krishna did not respond immediately. Instead, he looked at the sky where a flock of birds flew peacefully above the battlefield. Many beings sense the divine presence, Krishna said, but few truly recognize its depth. Arjuna leaned forward. I want to understand more. Krishna chuckled softly. Your eagerness honors the path of knowledge. Arjuna continued. If the divine source creates all qualities, if it guides the devoted, then knowing this truth must transform how a person lives. Krishna's eyes sparkled with approval. Exactly. He turned fully towards Arjuna. One who understands my divine origin and power becomes unshakable. Arjuna felt the significance of those words. Unshakable. Even in the midst of war, Krishna continued. Such a person no longer doubts the purpose of life. Arjuna exhaled slowly. Doubt had been his greatest struggle since arriving at Kurukshetra. Instead, Krishna said, their mind becomes firmly established in the divine truth. The wind picked up again, fluttering Arjuna's warrior banner. And what happens to such a person? Arjuna asked quietly. Krishna's answer carried immense warmth. They become devoted with their entire being. Arjuna's heart pounded. With their entire being? Yes, Krishna said. Thoughts, actions, intentions, everything becomes aligned with the divine purpose. Arjuna imagined living with that level of clarity. A life free from inner conflict. A life guided by wisdom instead of fear. Krishna studied his expression. You are beginning to understand. Arjuna nodded. But I want to understand fully. Krishna smiled knowingly. The journey of understanding has already begun. The final moments of silence before battle arrived. Across the vast plains of Kurukshetra, warriors raised their weapons and prepared themselves for destiny. But Arjuna felt something entirely different rising within him. Not fear, not doubt, but awakening. He looked at Krishna with deep reverence. Krishna, you have revealed truths that even the gods struggle to comprehend. Krishna's expression remained gentle. Truth belongs to all who seek it sincerely. Arjuna bowed his head slightly. I believe every word you have spoken. The confession felt powerful. Krishna studied him carefully. Belief alone is not the final step, Arjuna. Arjuna lifted his gaze. Then what is? Krishna answered quietly. Realization. The wind howled across the battlefield as if echoing the word. Krishna continued. When a person understands the divine origin of the universe, when they know that the Supreme Source guides all existence, he paused. Their life transforms completely. Arjuna listened with absolute focus. They become free from confusion, Krishna said. They act with clarity. They live with purpose. Arjuna looked toward the armies waiting to fight. For the first time, the battlefield did not feel like a prison of fate. It felt like a stage in a much larger cosmic story. Krishna placed his hand gently on Arjuna's shoulder. Understanding this truth plants a seed. Arjuna whispered, a seed? Yes, the seed of divine knowledge. Krishna's eyes glowed with quiet intensity. That seed grows into wisdom, devotion, and ultimately liberation. Arjuna's heart filled with determination. He understood now why Krishna had spoken these words before the war began. The battle outside was only one part of life, but the battle within the mind, that was far greater. Krishna looked once more toward the rising banners of the opposing army. "The one who truly understands my divine power and origin," he said calmly, "becomes firmly united with me through devotion." Arjuna tightened his grip on Gandiva. His doubts had once weakened him, but now something stronger had taken root: faith. The wind roared across Kurukshetra. Conches would soon thunder. The war would begin. Yet within Arjuna's heart, a profound realization had already dawned. The charioteer guiding his horses was also guiding the universe.